Sit. No disrespect, respectfully, but disrespectfully is disrespect. Don't be disrespectful. Those vile, disgusting Spartans, poor little bro, them. And I'ma tell them why I'm mad. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus, the other state, and of course, as always, I'm upset.
Maize and Blue Nation, it's Tom Brady. I co-founded Autograph with one mission in mind: change the fan experience for the better. That's why I'm excited to announce the release of a new app that recognizes the biggest Michigan fans. The Autograph Fandom app gives you access to the best Michigan content, fan challenges, and exclusive rewards for diehard Wolverines, all for doing the things you already do, like listening to this podcast. Head over to the Apple App Store and search for Autograph Rewarding Fans and download today.
Good evening, good people. It is I, the Maize Madman. I'm here with my man,
the Maniac.
Let's go. Of course, we got to start off with condolences to James Earl Jones' his family. Rest in peace to a Michigan legend as well as an acting legend. Where'd you get the news, Maniac?
Yeah, on I got on Facebook actually. And I follow what's his name, Swanky Wolverine. He a funny dude. He a troll. Right.
Nah, he definitely
I like him. That's my man.
Right.
Shout to Swank, man. He's doing a good job for the Wolverines. But he did post it, man. And at first I was like, wow, no.
Right.
But unfortunately, one day we all gotta meet that faith, right? So
for sure.
Shout to him, man. He's a legend in many ways, man.
For sure. Definitely a legend. Many people don't know, a graduate of the University of Michigan. The voice of so many of everybody's things throughout the generation. Star Wars, he was Darth Vader, the voice of Mufasa in The Lion King, so on and so forth. Fences, he's a legend for sure. Go Blue, rest in heaven, Sir James Earl Jones for sure.
Absolutely.
Go Blue for sure. But look, we got some things to talk about, and we're gonna talk about them and tell them why I'm at.
Let's talk about it.
Let's do it. Quick hitters around the big. Of course, there were some big games that took place around the conference this past weekend, not the least of which Michigan versus Texas. We'll get to that in a second. But first, let's kick it off with the other state. They beat Western Michigan down 56 to donut. Did you take anything from that win? What are you seeing from them early? Are what are you noticing early from the other state?
As expected. I mean, let's just call it like it is. They're with what they had returning and what they got from the portal. This was expected, So it's not showing me much. Honestly, right. They a good team, regardless. Right. I know they're a good team, but I don't know how good they are, because again, Akron, Western Michigan, they get a bye this week, and then they play the powerhouse that is Marshall, Thunder and Herd.
Right.
We're not gonna see much, but nonetheless, they doing what they're supposed to do to these opponents. So we'll see.
Shout out to Doreen making her way to the live. We appreciate it as always. Of course, it's Go Blue over here, but we got plenty of Buckeye fans that be in the chat as well. Yeah. So
respect to them all, man. Respect to all the Buckeye fans. They come in here, man. Listen, at the end of the day, y'all hate us, we hate you. But it's all love. It's all love.
Definitely.
And it's all in the name of the rivalry and the sport, man.
Absolutely. Be sure to show some love to Doreen in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, Doreen. Because you said, I remember one show, there was like a war going on in there.
Oh, and then there's Scott in Ohio. Scott in Ohio been lighting up the comment section, by the way. Shout out to Scott in Ohio, though. Another Buckeye fan.
They commented like 40 times in the.
That's him. That's Scott in Ohio. Shout out to Scott in Ohio, bro. The notifications were going crazy, but it is what it is. Mutual hate. Shout out to SDK for sure. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. All right, but so the Buckeyes, you got, and I think it's, the jury's still out. Obviously, they look good. They're playing, the YMCA of North Dakota or whatever. It is what it is. But I got to put some respect on their name. They're winning the games. They're winning them convincingly. That's all you can do at this point. So I guess they get some credit for that. Moving on, of course, Boise State. I think they came into that game top 5, right? Oregon, against Boise State. Came into that game top 5. Eked one out. By the way, they got a couple gifts from the refs, if I'm being honest. But that's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is they won the game at home, a 3-point win over Boise State. I will say this. Genty, the running back for Boise State, absolute monster, should be a Heisman Trophy candidate. He should be in New York, barring injury. What's your thoughts on that?
Wow. So when watch that game, look, not to be a hypocrite, same way Fresno could be one of those non-power 5 to make the playoffs, so can Boise State, which I think they are favored to win their conference, which Fresno is in. So I think Fresno might just be in their way. So Oregon did play a tough team. So I don't want to sit here and shit on them, but it's how they look doing it. This is not the Oregon team people expected that are picking to win the Big Ten and expected to contend for a national title. No, this Oregon team doesn't look that good. Their defense don't really look that good. Their offense looks solid at best because they do have a quarterback. Wow, yeah. I wish we could say the same. But regardless, it's not. But the eye test, Oregon does not look like an elite team this year. Very beatable.
I gotta agree with you. I know before the season, when we did our preseason Michigan schedule, which by the way, we have Michigan going 12-0. Obviously, that's not gonna happen. But Oregon was one of the teams that we really used some brain power on and thought about about how Michigan could beat them or would beat them if they when they match up. Not if they match up, but when they match up. And certainly it's looking shaky in Eugene. I will say that. But they are 2-0. They found a way to win these games. They started off a little shaky a year ago too, before righting the ship, only losing to Washington at the end. My guy Yellow Blackbird says USC is looking like the best team from the old pack. I would agree with that too. Oregon is mid, says Charles Hicks. I agree with that too. They look very mid right now. For sure. Moving on to Penn State, who also found themselves in a tussle with a MAC school, I believe, right? Bowling Green is a MAC school. 27-34 winners over Bowling Green, and it was close. What did you think about that?
Listen, a MAC school, no fries. That was a MAC, no fries kind of game. I tell you this. Penn State, here we go. 1 week, we say, here we go. But then what happens? Right. They go, and James Franklin is going to James Franklin. And this team did not look prepared. Listen, people could say what they want about Penn State being the third best team. I don't think so. They're good. They're a solid team. Yeah. But what makes teams elite is consistency. This was what they did to West Virginia in Morgantown, and then they home open against a MAC school like Bowling Green, who might be a solid team, but it was not supposed to be a one-score game. So regardless, they edged it because we saw what happened to Notre Dame, and we'll get there. But at the end of the day, they struggled, and again, they show vulnerability. So Penn State might not be as good as we thought after the first week.
People saying 6-6 for Michigan.
No, listen, I can't even debate that right now.
6-6 is the ceiling.
Damn.
PSU will never do anything with Frames Janklin at the helm. Hope the tenure him. I hope they tenure him too. Let's move on. By the way, we got 36 people here. We need 36 likes. Be sure to like the live, share it with your friends on social media. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Absolutely. USC, we just spoke about them a little bit. 48 to donut over Utah State. Utah State, no world beater, but that USC defense over the first 2 weeks looks like an actual defense, something they haven't had there in a long time. What do you think about that?
Listen, man, anybody that's saying anything about USC, they for real. This team is for real. And I'm going to tell you something. Even if this was last year against Utah State, they give up 17 to 20 points against that Utah State team. Regardless, they probably drop 60, but they'll give up 20. 48 zip. Coming off a huge win, right? A huge win against an SEC team in a neutral site, a game they were underdog. Many people had them losing, and they followed that up. You see the difference between Penn State and USC. USC won a bigger game, came home, and played against probably the same kind of level opponent, but dominated them from quarter 1 to quarter 2, man. This USC team is looking sneaky scary, man. I'm telling you.
For sure. I think I'm with you here. There's no doubt about it that USC looks like a real deal football team. I was one of the people in the preseason that said no way that USC could play football in this Big Ten. You too. I know my guy Garrison from Scarlet and Blue was one of them too. But now I have to really reassess that, especially taking into consideration how Michigan looks too. And we get ready to play those guys in a couple weeks. It could get real ugly, real Shabba ranks in a matter of seconds in that game. So, we got to keep our eye on that. We got to keep our eye on the way that Michigan looks moving forward. But right now, USC is certainly a team to be reckoned with, and they should be, treated with that respect. Moving on to our next game in the Big, Illinois pulled off a slight upset at home, beating number 19 Kansas, at least number 19 at the time, Kansas. What are your thoughts on that? I think that's a team that Michigan has to travel to Champaign this year. Definitely don't want to take an L to Illinois, but who knows at this point? Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, man. I mean, first of all, shout the coach.
Man, the Menace Army
listen, man. He did a hell of a job with this team, man. Say what you want about Kansas. Normally, regardless, Illinois loses a game like this, man. They look very well coached. They look prepared. And they discipline, man. Both offense and defense. Not saying they're going to compete for a Big Ten title. Absolutely not. But they're one of those mid teams that if you don't come to play, you're going to be in a dogfight. And that's all you can ask for your team, especially a team like Illinois that, they're trying to come back to. It's been a while since they were anything, but good win, man. Solid win. And, man, they have a lot to be proud of. Good. Man, I was shocked, man. Shout to Illinois.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the same. And I was shocked. I didn't expect that to be a game. I think they were only Kansas was only favored like 2.5, so it wasn't a huge upset necessarily, but still Illinois playing some football. Bielema got those guys, on the right track. So, shout out to them. At least somebody's doing well. Number 21 Iowa goes down to Iowa State in the Cyhawk, whatever they call that. 19-20. That's such an Iowa score. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, first of all, that's the children of the Corn Bowl.
Exactly.
If anybody saw that. So no, look again early on. It looked like Iowa was going to follow up last week's win against, an Iowa State team that, is a huge rivalry. They play each other every year. It's always good games. These games tend to always come down to the last play, which this one was pretty much no different. They dominated early, and then second half, the opposite. K. McNamara last week cooked in the second half, and he choked in the second half in this game. Right. And Iowa State took advantage, and their offensive woes look like they still gonna be there. And their defense played solid. It wasn't a horrible game, but they blew that game nonetheless.
No doubt. I agree that they blew that game. They were up 13-0, I think, at halftime. Before, giving up a couple big plays, which is something they really don't do. They really don't give up explosives. They're pretty disciplined on defense, but Iowa State found a way to get those off, and they end up winning the game. Think Iowa would beat us this year. That's sad. Listen,
no, can't say no. You can't listen. You can't.
I think they're definitely averaging more points than us right now, right? That's crazy, right? That Iowa's averaging more points than Michigan 2 games into the season. Kirk Ferentz came back this week and they scored 19 points. I don't know. I'm not blaming Kirk Ferentz for their point output, but the first week they didn't have Kurt. They went off for like 40 points.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. Couple more. Yeah. Minnesota bounces back 48-0 over Rhode Island. Any concern there? Nothing, no. Right? I mean, it's Minnesota. Yeah. I expected them to be a mid Big Ten team this year. They look about that. They beat Rhode Island. Who cares? Rutgers 49-17 over Akron. I'm gonna be honest. I'm impressed with Rutgers early in the season. I know last week I kind of poo-pooed on them a little bit because I thought they let Howard hang around a little too long. But this is an Akron team that just scored, the only 6 points on the other state that have been scored this year. And for a minute there looked like a solid team even against the other state. And now they are blown out by Rutgers. I think this is the first time in Rutgers history, by the way. The same Rutgers in their history who played the first ever college football game. They first time they've scored 40 in back-to-back games in the history of the university. That's crazy. What's your thoughts?
Wow. I mean, like I mentioned in one of the weeks that Rutgers, they coach, man. They resemble their coach when they're on that field. We know Greg Schiano, he's a no-nonsense coach. He's a serious guy. And he coached at Rutgers before. Remember, right. He had took him, bro. He had him as an elite program at one point, right? So he's trying to get there. This is a scrappy team. I'm telling you, this is another team, Rutgers, who, if you don't come to play, they're going to punch you in your mouth. They might not pack a power punch, but they're going to punch you in your mouth. So you better come prepared to play this team. We'll see when we get into Big Ten play how they start to look against the other mid-tier teams because they have an easy schedule. They don't play none of the elite teams this year. So this could be a special year for Rutgers.
I agree with you 1,000%. Greg Schiano is a good coach. I like Greg Schiano. I like what he's done. By the way, Charles Hicks, they played Howard the first game. Shout out to my guy, Kinetic. 29 people in the chat, 15 likes. That's dirty work. That's nasty.
Come on, guys.
Hit the like button. It costs you nothing. I promise you, you're not gonna get charged for it. Toledo beating unranked Michigan is nothing like NIU upset on Saturday.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a second. I promise you. Oh, my God, these guys are clowns, says Alfred C. Mutlug.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have a profile picture, but we're the clowns.
Your mother liked us when we dress up like that, too. So tell us, say hi. She know this clown very good.
I digress. Shout out to Alfred. He is welcome to his opinion. That said, we move on. Michigan State beats Maryland, and what was the surprise outside of course, what happened to Michigan? The surprise of the week for me, although I'm not going to say I was too surprised about Michigan. All right, but Michigan State beats Maryland 27-24. The two freshmen for Michigan State on offense, Nick Marsh and Childs, look like a good duo, a duo that people are going to have to contend with for years to come, as they are true freshmen. Let me know your thoughts on it.
Listen, man, like I mentioned, I hate everything Michigan State. I hate everything Ohio State. But I'm a realist at the end of the day.
Right.
And Aiden Childs, Nick Marsh, that is going to be a dynamic duo for the next 3 years, including this year. They're true, like you said, true freshmen. These guys just came out of high school and they big ball, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Aiden Childs is better than anything we have. Listen, man, it's the truth. And he's a true freshman. We got to call it like it is.
Right.
And already, the coach, what's his name again from Oregon State?
Yes, Smith. Right?
Yep. He has this team playing. Again, they won't compete for a Big Ten title, but they will. They will be a tough team to beat, and they're going to come to play every week. Aiden Childs, Nick Marsh, scary, scary combination, and shit. I'm not looking forward to playing them, and we play them next month.
Yeah, look, I will say they look drastically improved from a year ago. I'll give them that. We got Ryan in the queue. We'll bring you up in a sec, Ryan. Ryan, of course, is a Notre Dame fan. I'm sure he's going to want to say something about Notre Dame, which we're headed that way anyway, which is great. Great timing that you want to come up now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Aiden Childs, Nick Marsh, they're going to be a duo for years to come. Like I said, they look impressive. The kid did throw 3 interceptions. He also threw 3 touchdowns. What I like is he's airing it out, though. You know what I mean? He's not afraid. He threw the 3 picks. He said, forget it. I'm going to throw the next one, too. So I think I like what I've seen in him personally. He's kind of accepted that challenge, too. I know week 1, he promised some things that they didn't exactly go out and, see to fruition. But the fact that he was willing to even, jump out on that ledge week 1, and then to follow it up with what I would consider a quality win over Maryland for Michigan State, that's big time. So
yeah,
I think,
just one last thing about that. What I like is they don't have him on a leash. They're like, go ahead, be you, make the mistake. We don't care. We know this is a rebuilding. This is a rebuilding season. And if they could get 6, 7 wins, perhaps 8, forget about it. That's beyond a success season for Michigan State.
Yeah. Shout out to Joe Torres, man. I appreciate you tuning in for the numbers. I too am frustrated with the team in the direction of it. We're gonna get there in a second. I'm sure the Maniac is frustrated with the team and the direction right now. We're gonna get there, I promise you. But in the meantime, let's bring on Ryan. Let's talk about Notre Dame and their loss to Northern Illinois. Shout out to Ryan, who, by the way, I was supposed to be in Oregon with Ryan and the rest of week 0. I had a family emergency last minute, wasn't able to make that, but those guys did. Saw a great game in Oregon too. What's going on, Ryan?
1, 2, 3, ready to lose to Purdue this week.
Listen,
yeah,
Ryan, I'm gonna tell you this, champ. I know I couldn't believe my eyes. I text Madman. I'm sorry. I'm like Notre Dame with like the laughing emojis.
Right.
Yeah.
This is Marcus Freeman's 3rd year as head coach.
Yeah.
You had a big win, which I gave y'all credit for. You came on here. I gave y'all credit. I said, let's see how Texas A&M plays out the rest of the year to really see. But regardless, it was a good win at the moment. Then you're a 4 touchdown favorite at home against a MAC school, right? There's no reason that this game should have been close. I'm going to let you get on the dance floor, and I'm going to let you talk about your team.
So, in the words of the great Stephen A. Smith, I have been lied to. I have been I have been sold a bag of lies. This is his 3rd year, and clearly Marcus Freeman has not learned his lesson from the Marshall loss and the Stanford loss, the Clemson, the Louisville losses last year. I have no answer for it as a Notre Dame fan. It's just more like, take your shots at us. Take your shots because it's deserved. This is embarrassing. I don't know if I told you this yet, Phil. This is the worst loss I've seen in my lifetime as a Notre Dame fan. Like this,
I'm sorry,
bro.
I don't mean to laugh.
No. Go ahead, laugh. No, Phil, for real. Like this shit is laughable. And you know what makes me more mad about it is in the post game, Freeman's like, well, I don't know if it's our preparation, it's our execute. What do you mean you don't know?
Yeah.
How do you not know? This is your program. Like you've been here for 3 years. So you mean to tell me that you can get your guys up, you can rah and you can get them excited to go out and play Ohio State. You can get them excited to go play A&M. But when you come out and you play NIU, Marshall, Stanford, and the guys are like, I'll be honest, the guys look like they did not give a fuck about that game at all. Excuse my language.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Listen, you have every right to be upset, Ryan. And I understand, man. I was at an engagement party and I said, it's 14-13 in the fourth quarter. Oh, no. I got to watch this game because I couldn't believe my eyes. And the fact that
we're going to talk about
you guys blew it. But I would say this, Ryan, like Michigan, quarterback-wise, we can't say shit. But, bro, your quarterback, let's talk about him. It's better than what we have, but let's talk about your quarterback.
Listen, first of all, no, he's not. No, he's not.
He's not better. He is not better than what you guys got. It's about the same.
Before this season, this guy wasn't good at passes 10 yards or more down the field. I forget the number. I think it was like 23% completion percentage down the field passing. Then all off season, and Ryan, I'm sorry I got to do this to you. All off season, Ryan was telling me that Riley Leonard was better than the guy that got out the portal from the ACC last year, who, by the way, I told Ryan threw a bunch of interceptions in the ACC. Why do you think he's not going to do the same? And he turned around and did that, by the way, and led them exactly nowhere. But I don't want to bash Notre Dame too much because I am a fan of a team that just got embarrassed at home too. The difference is we lost to the number 3 team in the nation. Yeah. Maybe they're the front runners for at least, one of the front runners for the national championship. You guys just lost to Northern Illinois, and this is what was crazy about this. And follow me here, everybody in the chat. By the way, like the live if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Look, Northern Illinois was getting like 10 yards a pass, bro. Something like 10 yards.
No, they were running the ball. They averaged 6 yards per carry.
Yeah. But when they passed the ball, it was like 10 yards a pass.
Yeah.
And you guys on the flip side of that were getting something like 5 or 6 yards a pass. It's embarrassing.
Well, and you know what else is like, what annoyed me is, we arguably, we are, and, payment wise, we have the highest paid OC in the nation. We have the highest paid DC in the nation. We came out against NIU playing cute on defense. The first drive, where they got the weird, which is kind of an odd touchdown, the 90-yard touchdown pass they had where Morrison broke on it and it should have been a pick, but it went right through Morrison's hands and the guy was right behind him and there was no one left.
Right.
Yeah, that we were playing, mind you, Notre Dame plays the same defensive scheme that y'all play. The 4-3, you have the Viper position and all that stuff, right? That's our standard position. We play defense just like y'all do. We came out in a 6-2 against NIU. 6 down defensive linemen with our 3rd string defensive tackles out there trying to be all cute and shit. Why? Why are you doing that? Like, if you want to do that shit when you're up 42-14 in the second half, cool, whatever, do it. But when your coaching staff is doing that, and you just don't. And And I don't get how you cannot respect an opponent when your coaching staff is the same staff that lost to Marshall. Like, that's what I mean is like, how have you not learned? And that's where, like, you guys from an outside perspective, I don't know if the answer is you fire Freeman. I don't know if that's the answer, but this is Notre Dame. And, we've been irrelevant since 1988, whatever.
Yeah.
But this is like a new low. This is a whole new type of low. You can't do this shit. This isn't acceptable at Michigan. This shit isn't acceptable at Ohio State. This shit isn't acceptable at fucking Georgia Tech. This shit is not acceptable. Like, what are we doing?
I love that you're saying this, and I don't have to say it because then I'd be a hater.
Yeah. No, listen.
No, Phil, it would not be a hater. It would be being real. Like, this shit is embarrassing.
It is. It is because
pretty bad.
As his third year, right? And again, you was a top 5 team. Right after the A&M win, Notre Dame is in the playoffs. That's it. They punched their ticket. This is it. They in the playoffs. So now we drinking the Kool-Aid. We drinking the hype juice, right? We in the playoffs. And that's all on Freeman. That's a reflection of the coaching because that team wasn't prepared. There's no way you score 14 at home against Northern Illinois when y'all score how much against A&M? Over 20, correct?
Yep, 23. Against a better defense. By the way.
And y'all was at home, your home opener. This was supposed to be a Mickey Mouse game. This is by the third quarter, your starters were supposed to be on TikTok, making TikToks on the sideline, man. And look, it's bad. But
they were making TikToks. Just wasn't the good kind.
No, and you know what makes it worse is like you had said, you go on the road, you beat a good A&M team. We don't know how good A&M will be, but nobody will argue that defensive line and that defense is, one of the best in the nation. And this has been an issue is like Freeman. What's weird is BK and Freeman are like the complete opposite. When BK was here, we had a school record for the longest period of time without a loss to an unranked team. BK, you knew what you were going to get. You were going to beat NIU. You were going to beat Miami, Ohio. You were going to win the games you were supposed to. The issue with him is that when you played teams like Ohio State, Michigan, the team didn't get up for those games and you got your ass kicked. It's a reverse now. Freeman will get those guys ready to play like it's the fucking Super Bowl against Ohio State. They may not come out on top, but they'll be competitive. Same thing with A&M, right? But when you come home and you play teams like NIU, it's like the high school team going out there.
Yeah.
And I just don't get. And at some point, you can blame Freeman for it, but I think it's more than that. It's the culture that he's built because you've got 50-year guys out there that are just like, bro, it's NIU. Why are we out here playing?
And you guys have all the resources, right? Like you said, it's Notre Dame. People could say what they want. I grew up watching Michigan and Notre Dame. I watched Notre Dame closely. When y'all had Rick Meyer, we could keep going on and on. Y'all always had talented teams.
Hit the like button as you come in, by the way.
But this is probably the worst loss
Get it under control.
But look, at the end of the day, I get you. We, as much as we could say, yeah, y'all lost to Northern Illinois and it's embarrassing,
right?
But who knows if we can even beat Arkansas State Saturday?
Hey, you know what? You know what's funny though? Is I'm sure we were all clowning on Florida State the last 2 weeks.
We were.
I got into space. I don't know, Phil, if you know who Breezy is, but he's a big Florida State guy that talks a lot of trash. And, he's been sitting on the couch for the last 2 weeks. His season's done. And he invited me to his space and he's like, hey, Ryan, come sit down on the couch, bro. We can watch the rest of the season together. I was like, all right, I'm glad you kept that motherfucker warm for me because I need to sit down. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Go Blue. Hey, look, Ryan, we got to move on from Notre Dame, man.
No, go ahead.
It's been great, laughing about them and stuff like that. But
Michigan has
problems of their own. And we got to talk about it. What now, Maniac, for Michigan We talked about it in the immediate reaction, how we thought both coordinators, needed to improve. Right, I went as far as to say that Sharon Moore should retake the play calling duties. And as far as Wink Martindale, we both noticed the mishaps on defense. I'll just call it that. What do you think they are doing this week to improve? What can they do to improve the quarterback situation? Or do you even blame Davis Warren? I'm hearing a lot of different things from the Michigan fan base. Let me know what you think.
Look, before I even get into that,
yeah,
I want to be clear to the Michigan fan base, guys. Guys, listen to me and let's be clear. Guys, calm down. First of all, this is Michigan. That was Michigan's first regular season loss since 2021. All right? You've been spoiled, you kids here. 2021. That was Michigan's fourth loss in 3 years. And mind you, of those 4 losses, one team won the Natty, Georgia, and the other team went to the Natty, TCU, and lost to Georgia. And Texas has a great shot of going to the Natty. So, guys, relax. It might be a season where we have to just lick our wounds, and it might be ugly. But, guys, calm down, bro. Like, look, Ohio State, Michigan State has never, in the history of their program, had a 3-year run like that, especially Ohio State, who's in the last 10 years have had top 3, top 5 recruiting classes, have arguably the most first-rounders drafted in no natty. And look what we did in these 3 years. Calm down, man. Relax. Yeah, it's not looking pretty. I'm not happy, but calm down. Shit. It's been a great 3-year run, the greatest 3-year run in Michigan's history, and you witnessed that. Calm down. All right. Now, with that being said, what we need to see, listen, if we can't score more than 20 points against this Arkansas State team, Sharon Moore better take over the play calling duties. It's just simple. It's just simple. I know it doesn't make it better, but it is what it is, homie. It's like making $60 million 3 years in a row, and this year you just might make 20. You still, bro, you good. It's just not the 60. We need a run. That's Michigan's identity. We don't have the dogs outside to be slinging it. And if we are, like I said, man, a lot of option, a lot of motion. You saw what Texas did? That was a vanilla offense. Sarkisian didn't do nothing strategic. He didn't do no super scheme. Bro, motion, tight end coming across 7-8 yards. It was very simple play calling. But you know what they did? Man, 2 things. 1, they have an identity. And 2, they execute. Executed. I'm very upset. They executed. So look, the bottom line is this. Michigan needs to get back to who they are. That's being a physical team, and it starts with running the ball. We got the dogs. You better push Arkansas State around. If we struggling to move the ball against that team and we can't score more than 20, woo! And that's what I expect to see. Run the ball and give Orji a series. Let him just do something. Give him a series. Man, 1, not 2 plays. Give him a series. And if it doesn't work out, fine, but we got to try. This is it. This is the game. This is going to be the easiest game on the schedule moving forward. Because the way Illinois looking, Indiana looking, those are no gimmies. You see Will Rogers in Washington? That boy cooking. I don't care if it's against Burger King Tech and Wendy's State. He's cooking. And that's not going to be an easy win to get into what we might get cooked that game too.
No doubt. Look, I know I agree with you. Shout out to the Maniac's passion for sure. Look, I think personally we got to find out what we have at quarterback. That's the most important thing to me. I think whether or not it's playing Orgy for a quarter or a series or a couple series, whatever it is, playing both the Jadens. I know there's been talk about Jaden Davis, his family not wanting him to play until he's ready or whatever. How are we gonna know if he's ready if we don't see it? Let's see it. So at this point, I feel like it should be an audition for Michigan quarterbacks this Saturday. No disrespect to Arkansas State, respectfully, but disrespectfully, we should beat you by a lot of points. So I don't think that, having these quarterbacks come out and play multiple quarterbacks, by the way, I don't think it necessarily hurts us in the Arkansas State game. And if it does hurt us in the Arkansas State game, then maybe, like my guy said, we should pack the tents up and, start planning for next season. We should beat Arkansas State comfortably. We should beat Arkansas State so comfortably that we can play a true freshman quarterback, right? Other people around the country are playing true freshman quarterbacks. I just saw DJ Lagway. Granted, they played, as you would call, Burger King Tech, but he just had a game where he threw for over 400 yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns. He's a true freshman. You look at Nebraska and Rayola. They just beat Deion Sanders and the rest of, Team Sanders, beat them so bad. One of them's getting surgery. The other one left the game early. Deion hasn't been hurt from since, and that's a true freshman at quarterback, right?
And I mean, Phil, they're talking about, like, with Riley Leonard looking like dog shit, we might see CJ Carr sooner than expected. So why not put Jaden Davis out there? Exactly. Like, seriously.
And you should play CJ Carr, by the way. So yeah, I think that's gotta happen. We gotta see what we got in this kid. If he's the 5-star that we all raved about when he committed to Michigan, then he shouldn't have a problem getting out there and proving it. By the way, him playing one game doesn't burn his red shirt. So if he goes out there and he is dog water, he can sit his ass back on the bench. So I think that it should be the plan. Obviously, getting the defense in order has to happen. I think that's more a discipline thing than anything else. These guys are who they are, right? Kenneth Grant is a star. Mason Graham is going to be a high first-round pick. Will Johnson's going to be a high first-round pick. Barham is not playing like the person that they said, like the linebacker they promised us. He is not the prince that was promised in terms of his linebacker play so far. It's been a lot of guys out of position. Now, I disagree with you on the Sark thing. I think Sark was scheming us the hell up. We were out leveraged so many times it was disgusting, but that's neither here nor there. That's what I think should happen. Ryan, we're going to give you an opportunity to speak here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, watching the game, like Michigan's offense just didn't have it. And Dave and to me, and I was surprised that I didn't see it more from Michigan fans, but like when Davis Warren got announced the starting quarterback job, I was kind of like, and I get it, like he's better than what most walk-ons are, but when I was like, oh, they're starting a walk-on at Michigan,
yeah,
that was my first red flag. And that means that's a detriment, not a detriment, but an indictment on Alex Orgy's progress. That means he's clearly not ready. And obviously Jack Tuttle as well. Jaden Davis, like you said it, you're playing Arkansas State. Like, you cannot tell me that Jaden Davis can't do any worse or do worse than what you got the last 2 weeks at quarterback. He can't. It cannot get any worse. So I would rather put Jaden Davis in now as opposed to, say, when you guys are playing Oregon in a few weeks and your quarterback is stinking it up and you want to go throw Jaden Davis out there against Oregon or Ohio State. Do it now. See what you got.
I agree with Alfred here, by the way. Play calling was atrocious. And that's why I think Sharon Moore should take back over, especially the offensive play calling. That was disgusting. That was nasty work. The offensive play calling. Maniac, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think that Kirk Campbell is trying to implement a more balanced offense this year, and that's not working. We need to just go back to our roots, who we are. Right. 7 linemen, more 12 personnel. Put Klein, put Loveland, bringing an extra lineman, and we're going to run it. You know what's coming, but you're not going to stop it. That was Michigan 3 years. People could cry, oh, you new plays. We didn't. Everyone know what Michigan was. We was a run-first team. So I don't get it. That's who Michigan was. That's their identity. Run the ball, control the clock, play hard-nosed defense. And the defense, I'm going to tell you something, man. Yo, Sugar, Jahari Hill, he had a horrible game. Horrible game. Look at the play. Look at the drive. Before Texas scored at the end of the half, bro, the running back did a Mickey Mouse move on him. And I said, bro. And listen, and then you remember that reverse that they ran that end around that Will Johnson caught him? Bro, look at Makari Page's effort. He was like a foot from him. He didn't even put his arm out.
Texas fans in here.
Yeah, man. Let them talk their shit respectfully. Right. They deserve it. Look, man, I ain't gonna keep beating the dead horse. This shit is simple. You run the ball, man, and simple plays. Get Samaji in open space. Get Tyler Morris in open space. It's simple. Why you making them run 8-9 yard routes? No, 2 yards. Look, Texas scored like 2 touchdowns, little dumps. Listen, we could do the same. Use Edwards, bring Mullins and Edwards at the same time and alternate. Yo, you're going to be split out wide. Boom. Scheme it differently. Mullins, oh shit, who's going to get the ball? You know what, Edwards, that linebacker can't guard you. Ain't no linebacker that could guard Edwards one-on-one. We know the guy has hands like a receiver. Use that. Listen, you take what you have and you use it to their strengths. All right, this is my team, my offense. I got to scheme it to where it's going to work. Just don't implement your offense and it's not working. Obviously, do something different.
Right. I gotta comment here because I don't even know if these guys can get open. The guys seem to be open. Saturday, there was a play where Warren just missed the throw to Samaj Morgan. He was wide open. You just have to layer the throw. I think somebody brought that up on the broadcast. My guy Bell's brother, his little brother, seems to be able to get open at will. I don't know if it's about the receivers not being able to get open. I think it's about the quarterback not being able to deliver the ball when they're open or to throw them open. Sometimes it's not about them necessarily being open. Give them a chance to make a play. That's not even happening, right? The play where it was tipped and intercepted, I wouldn't count that as a chance to make a play. He threw it behind the receiver who had to turn back. The Texas guy was in better position, put his hand up, got his hand on the ball that was intercepted. So I would like to see better quarterback play. I think that's the key, honestly, offensively anyway. That's the key to me. And we'll see what happens. But at this point, and what do we have to lose by playing these other guys at quarterback, especially against Arkansas State? Because the rounds get live after that, right? After Arkansas State, USC, who we just talked about looking like, a real team, is coming to town, right? After that, it's a Big Ten schedule where it's not a lot of guaranteed wins on that schedule. Michigan State, even poor little Bronim at this point. If we lose to poor little Bronim, I'm not going to be able to show my face in public. You understand that the tickets I've been selling, the guarantees I've been saying for since last season? You understand what's going to happen to me out here?
Phil, they're keeping receipts. They got them all.
I know they're keeping receipts. A lot of my tweets have been saved. It's crazy. They are going to handle me in these Twitter streets. If we lose the poor little Bronim, we can't have it.
And 2 quick stats, man, that we forget. 3rd down conversions. Michigan 3 for 12. Texas 10 for 16. Right there, that's one stat that's going to tell a story, especially in big games. You're not going to win big games going 3 for 12 on 3rd down. 3 turnovers, Texas 0. And of the 3, Texas scored 10 points. There you have it. There you have it. You're not converting 3rd downs and you turning the ball over. Elite teams are going to make you pay whenever you make those mistakes. That's just what it is. Michigan did it for 3 years.
For sure, and not just turning the ball over, which we did, but not converting 3rd downs. we couldn't get off the field on third down, right? The
10 for
defense
16.
could not
10 for
get off the
16.
field on third down. It was pretty gross, especially in that first half. But yeah, we move on. That's the what now. We got to talk about this. The Michigan schedule. I brought it up a little bit. After Arkansas State, it gets decidedly more difficult than Arkansas State. Where do you see the wins? If you see any wins, in the chat too, we'll pose this question. What do you think Michigan's final record is after 12 games in the regular season this year? Let's talk about it.
So listen, we got Arkansas State next. That's a win. If we lose, don't even do no show. We just burn everything. Yep. That should be a win. Then is USC. As of right now, that's a loss. Let's call it like it is. That's a loss.
That's an L.
Then Minnesota comes into Ann Arbor. That should be a win. It might be a fist fight, but that's a winnable game. Then we go into Washington. Depending how we looking, that's going to be a loss if we're not looking good. There's no progress, and we're still talking about this going into the Washington game, then that's a loss. Then I believe is a bye after that. Who's after Washington? I don't got the schedule in front of me.
Oh, I'm sorry. After Washington is Illinois. We're at Illinois after
and
Washington.
Then at Indiana, right back to back?
Nah, it's Lil Bro Nim comes to town after Illinois.
Right. So Indiana, depending how they looking, when we get to them, that's no gimme.
We got Oregon in between Indiana. So it's Michigan State, Oregon, then Indiana.
That shit. I mean, Oregon, believe it or not, it's late in November. I think if they continue to play the way they play, that's a winnable game because they have a quarterback. He's 8-4 with Stallions. I saw that.
With Stallions, right?
Yes. And Oregon has a quarterback, and they still not looking good. But depending how they look that day, we'll see.
We better not.
Michigan State, I'm going to tell you this. Whether my fellow Michigan fans want to agree or not, if Michigan wins that game, it's going to be a nail biter. That's not going to be a blower. That's going to be a, oh my God. But there's one key thing here. Dominic Savada. Ooh, at least we got a kicker that he could hit from 50 plus. Because I'm telling you, some of these games are going to come down to a field goal for Michigan to win or lose. And we know he's money right now. Right now, he showed that he's money. So hopefully he continues to be consistent. But this could easily be a 6-6 season for Michigan. You know, I just
Ryan, I'm gonna let you give an opinion on this, even though I shouldn't. But go ahead.
So my record prediction before the beginning of the year, I believe, was like 9-3. I'm going 8-4. I think Oregon, Ohio State, the way USC is looking, I think those are the three other losses you get this season. But I'll say this, like kind of what you guys started the show off with, when you have a first-time head coach, you're gonna have some struggles. Like I don't think 8-4 is really, it's not what you want, but I don't think 8-4 is really that bad of a first year for a brand new head coach at Michigan, new staff, new team. So I mean, I think 8-4 and that's a good year for a first year.
Listen, Ryan, the way we've been looking, I'll take 8-4. I'll take it. It. I don't want it, honestly, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
Not disqualified. I would say Michigan is better than Oregon, but Ohio State will beat you guys. First of all, we don't refer to them as Ohio State on this channel.
Yeah,
they are the other state here on this channel. Friendly Mango. Shout out to Texas, though. You guys got the win. And it wasn't even close. I'll say that. But 2-10, bro. Don't come here trolling. That's disrespectful.
He's trolling. It's all right. He's all right. He's feeling himself.
2-10.
He's feeling himself. He knows that.
Get out of here.
Listen, they got a tough road. He in the SEC. They got Georgia. They got a gauntlet. So they need to just worry about it. They handle us. Shout to you.
Ohio.
You know what? What Maniac? We'll find out what team Michigan wants to be after this Texas loss against Arkansas State. That'll answer a lot of questions.
I agree, Ryan, because if we, like I said, if Michigan wins 20-10, bro, just burn the season, bro.
Listen, I think we can beat. I think Oregon is a beatable team. I think we can beat Oregon at home. I think that USC looks like a loss right now.
Yes.
I think everybody else, until we get to who at the end of the season, is winnable. Whether or not we win them is another question. I think Washington is scary at Washington, just because it's it's hard to win there. But I think every game on the schedule is winnable. And I think if we win those games, if we lose, even if we lose to USC, win those games, head into the game in Columbus with 2 losses, I would consider that a success for this season based on what we saw to this point, right? At the beginning of the season, I would have thought that was a failure, especially if that team at the end of the season wipes the floor with us, which at the moment it looks like they will do. Unfortunately, I know it's disrespectful to say that. I almost vomited in my mouth, but right now it looks like they are leagues ahead of Michigan football, that vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus. But if we end the season with 3 losses, I can deal with that. 4 losses, I can deal with. Anything over 4 losses, it's got to be considered a failure for Michigan, and people got to start looking inward. They're going to have to look at Sharon Moore and his Charmin football contract signed on a Charmin piece of toilet paper. They're going to have to they're going to have to look at, Wink Martindale and what he's done.
But you know what, Phil?
All of that.
Another thing, people don't know this, but Kirby Smart's first year at Georgia, he was 8-4.
Yeah.
So I mean, and he's one of the best coaches in the nation.
Oh, he's the premier coach right now in the nation. And I say this, before the season started, I picked Georgia to win it all. I just think as long as they don't suffer major injuries to major players, they have a great shot of winning it all. Because they have the coach, they have a veteran quarterback, they have a fucking phenomenal defense. Now, by it, they don't have the dogs on offense, the elite receivers, but they got good receivers and good running back and good linemen, man. They very well coached team. They play physical, they play fast. So Georgia, they'll have the chance to beat anybody. Even a bum-ass Ohio State, I hate them. They got a chance, but I think Will Howard is going to choke. I think they're gonna turn on him. I think they're gonna run the table. I think Ohio State probably goes undefeated in the regular season. But
you know what? The other state fans are feeling too confident right now. I don't like it.
Liam, you talking about the bum eyes or the
bum eyes? The bum eyes. Yeah.
It's all right. Listen, I've always said this, right? Anybody that watches college football, and I don't say this with hate, I say this with facts. Name this Ohio State fans, the cockiest fan base. There's only like 10 realistic Ohio State fans, and that might be too many. But realistically, look at that, their recruiting classes ever since they won the Natty. Look at their top 3, top 5, elite 5 stars, year in, year out, every year, first round picks for how many years straight? And they haven't won a Natty in 10 years? That is real. Oh boy, I know you can't win it every year. Since Ohio State won their last Natty, Oregon, 2 Natties. Georgia, 2 Natties. Alabama, 3 Natties. And they recruit on their level. They recruit on an Alabama level. They recruit on a Georgia level. No one can say differently. It's not that far above. It's the same. So I never understand these Ohio State fans, how they chirp, but y'all haven't won nothing in over 10 years. If Michigan shit had recruiting classes like that, and they like to talk shit about Kyle McCord, congratulations. He was a 5-star. We finally get a 5-star and we win the Natty. We had Jake Rudock, right? Jim Harbaugh's first year. Wilton Spate, right? We had John O'Corn. Then we finally got a decent quarterback in Shea Patterson, who was a 5-star transfer from Ole Miss. He just didn't pan out. He had one good season. The second season, he he got worse. And then that's it. Then we had Joe Milton and then K McNamara. So they talking about quarterbacks, and they had Justin Fields, CJ Stroud, Dwayne Haskins. They've been spoiled with quarterbacks. And they crying about Cal McCord. Oh, congratulations, beating our worst quarterback. Bro, look what Michigan's had for the last 10 years. Come on, man. I hate that team. And I hate their fan base because that's all they do is cry and use excuses. Oh, Georgia beat us because they took out Marvin Harrison. How many 5-star receivers you still had? Or Clemson, the fumble. How many times they blew that game, the lead they had? Come on, they always use excuses and want to say that about the next team. Ohio State, look in the mirror, you bums. I'm tired, Ryan. I'm tired of that.
No, I get it.
Crying. They're always using excuses. Yes, they've been better than us the last 20 years. I'm not going to say they haven't been a more successful program. I'm a realist at the end of the day. I'm not a hater, but I'm just speaking truth, bro. If you look at that talent Ohio State has, and I'm just talking about the last 10 years. Come on, bro. They should have had at least 2 natties.
Yep. Well, that's the Ryan Day. That's the Ryan Day effect, bro. That's the Ryan Day effect. That's what that is.
Copy. There. I let it out. Yo, we can't.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Sorry.
I wanted to bring up Kyle McCord real quick because I do feel like Michigan dropped the ball and not even attempting to get him. Now, granted, listen, I know I was at the top of the list of talking about the Honda McCord last year, but he's better than every quarterback we've seen so far from Michigan. And Michigan probably should have reached out. That said, we have reached that golden hour, ladies and gentlemen. Before I get out of here, I got to give a special shout out to my guy. Where is he? I don't see him. He hasn't commented in a minute. But everybody who has joined the membership group here on the channel, shout out to you. We got some special things cooking up for you guys, so keep it locked for that. Shout out to Mango, the Texas fans. Shout out to all the other state fans that joined the live tonight, and of course,
subscribe, guys.
Shout out to all the Michigan fans. So for sure, subscribe to week 0, Ryan and the guys over there. We got some special things. There we go, Troy, you know who I was looking for. My guy Troy. Shout out to Troy. But everybody else, man, until next time, you know what the saying is, stay angry.